Hello everyone. Uh, it's me back again, and in fact, in the previous panel which I had moderated, there was a very important component of talent which was being discussed, and we thought it's best to deep dive into it because GCCs are a lot about the talent that they have, and which Mr. Jayashanjan also mentioned about building up Hyderabad and other locations as talent hubs. And that is why we have again a great group coming from financial services, from HR solutions, technology, and skill and leadership development. And all of them are very focused on building that kind of talent, which can take GCCs to the next level, and talent in terms of variety of skills, talents in terms of flexibility that they have. And Ankit, if I can start with you on with my within your company on Micron, it's a technology based, and that's what most GCCs are into. And it's a difficult thing to have because the technologies keep changing, the languages keep changing, and you need a lot of skilling. So how do you develop your talent internally?
So thanks for the question. So as GCCs are moving more towards the strategic mandates, and be it in terms of co-owning the global platforms or in terms of driving the global solutions and leading the transformation, I think it's really important that the traditional role of how to develop the leadership goes under the change, and that is something which is important right now. So what we are working upon right now, or what we are focusing upon, is skill-based or skills-first leadership development, wherein the focus is not just in terms of developing the leadership skills, not solely on the basis of tenure and title, however, on the basis of what actually is required by the business in order to create the workforce of the future. That is one part of it. And the second one is more about, and that creates the diverse leadership pipeline. The second one is about creating the inclusive leadership pipeline by focusing upon the skills coming in from the diverse group, wherein the focus or the initiatives are being the targeted initiatives are being implemented or incorporated in the areas like women in tech, early career professionals, and also the underrepresented groups. And the idea is not just to focus on the representation in the workforce. It's about the readiness for the groups or for the leaders of the future to start handling and start resolving the problems that are being faced, and also to work in the complex global metrics environments, and also the global integrated approach in terms of creating the skills which are required is by providing the virtual leadership labs, by providing the cross-border mentoring, and by focusing upon the strong governance to ensure that the progress which is being made is actually yielding benefits to the company as well as to an individual in terms of the career path and the career development. So these are some of the focus areas. So basically, for the leadership development as a program, as an approach, it's more about developing it in a way that it is inclusive by intent, it is global by design, and it is agile in execution.
Sure. So readiness is something which you had stressed on. And Alessandro, so on your side, because we are talking about talent readiness, and then what do you feel about the talent readiness in India, and how does SD Bocconi ensure that there is that readiness?
Yes, talent readiness is one of the issues in India. It's been improving in the last few years, but for sure is one of the issues that needs to be addressed, and which we do address in multiple ways, because especially if we talk about GCCs, they are becoming a microcosm of corporate headquarters, okay, based in India. And so you need 360 degrees skills, while in most cases in India you have very strong technical skills. And you're missing what are the soft skills that are used. I've been hearing now about agility, adaptability, and so on. All these skills need to be trained. What we do, we start from the selection of the students. For sure, you have certain benchmark for tech, for IQ, but the biggest effort that we do in the selection is about soft skilled people or with potential to boost the soft skills in 2 years that they are at the MBA with us, because nowadays those are the skills that are needed. That's why we based our program on a strong curriculum for sure, but on pillars that are global exposure, soft skills, and corporate connect. And in these directions, we are doing a lot of efforts. And I think that's the same direction where everybody, also at corporate level, because we're talking about selection of the talent, but we're talking also about the training of the talent. Okay, because in GCC, typically they enter with very strong technical skills, and then they have to grow. Especially the GCCs are developing towards roles that are not only backup technical, but really the typical roles of a headquarter. Okay, shared service. And on top of that, everything is much more exasperated because it has a very strong global exposure many times. So you have all those problems of that are exaggerated in terms of exposure, in terms of adaptability, working in different cultures and so on.
Of course, you stressed on different cultures, and there has to be more collaborative. And I understand from you that the soft skills take precedence there. And Shaswat, would you like to also throw light on how the skills are evolving?
Let me add to what Ankit and Alessandro just mentioned. As we look at our pool of clients we work with, there are some patterns which are very clear. One is mid to senior level, you are seeing a shift away to a domain-first capability. You are seeing leaders who are less of ops or IT, but also people who are deep into the business domain of respective GCCs they belong to. Second, most of them have had global exposure or stints. So GCCs are deliberately developing them to have different location expertise and skills. Third theme, which is very apparent, is these guys are, or ladies are, adept at managing global teams to outcomes. And they are also very aware of different complications of compliance, geos, and so on. And the fourth theme, which is very interesting, is over last couple of years, I will say post-COVID, we have started seeing a pattern of impats coming in. So India has been exporting GCC talent globally. Now you are seeing the emergence of, in past, for example, if you go to some of the largest first GCCs in Hyderabad also were banks. And you had a bunch of Brits coming here to train and set up. It's not that pattern anymore. There are people coming in to take an India exposure, India job, because it will help them in their global career. And that has started happening. So these are the trends which will only accelerate as we look forward and will be good for Indian GCC.
So local location expertise is not just inbound but outbound as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And one of the things when we talk about talent, and we have acquired probably the right kind of talent, is also about the building that kind of culture. And there's a very famous saying, it's a half saying, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. You might have the best of strategies, you might have the talent, but ultimately these are humans who are operating in that ecosystem. So Ankit, from your side also is, how do you therefore build that kind of culture which fosters a very cross-functional collaboration?
I think first is about alignment with the core values. That is something which is very important because every one of us need to understand what we are contributing towards, what is the goal and the objective or vision and mission of the company. That is one. The second one is about I strongly believe that the leaders are actually the carriers of the culture. And what we define as the leader, that gets percolated down to the team as well. So culture is not necessarily that it flows from top to bottom. But I think we all are the strong ambassadors of culture. The third one is about practicing it, right? Not just about going through the core values once in a while during the town halls or the ATMs. However, practicing it in each and every transaction or task or each and every action that we take within the organization, interactions, communication, and also the culture for me is not being submissive. It's also about making sure that the challenger mindset is there, and wherever the requirement to challenge the status quo, wherever there's a requirement to point out what needs to be improved, that should be done without any kind of without feeling any kind of apprehension or any kind of a fear. So So I think that culture building takes a lot of time, but at the same time, I think there's no better way to start it from today. So I think that's something which is important that I practice with the team, and also important to keep on listening, right? And the listening skills is something that it is always good to listen and adapt to different perspectives and different viewpoints, and then embed it into the way of thinking, and that helps to build the culture over the course of time.
I think it's about a two-way culture which you are mentioning. And Sudipta, from what's your thought on building that kind of collaborative culture, a two-way street?
Yeah, culture is one of the most important things, especially when you think about the BFSI sector. And as a very quick background, I work for the Bank of New York, which is a 241-year-old bank. We custody about $56 trillion worth of assets, which is about twice the GDP of the United States. So we are a bank in the United States. We are custodying about twice the GDP of the United States, right? And when you think about that, right, when you think about a journey as a 241-year-old bank, you don't stay in business for 241 years without a very strong culture, right? So that's what BNY is very well known for having one of the best cultures on the street, right? And, you know, how do we really foster that? So I'm just going to, again, just take one example. We have lots that I can go through the full day, you know, about the examples. But one key thing for me that I benefit the most from is reverse mentoring, right? We often talk about leaders as teachers. We talk about, you know, leaders mentoring early career talent. But as leaders, we also need to evolve. We need to learn. We need to understand the changing expectations of people joining the workforce, which is why it's fundamentally important for us to listen to how they feel, what are their aspirations, and what are they really expecting from us. We always give them the best tools to succeed, but that isn't sufficient, right? And reverse mentoring is something that starts that cycle, that we continue to give them the best. They feed us back about what they are aspirational for. And with that, we make sure that they remain with us and in this industry for a very long time and help us flourish for another 240 years. Thank you.
Yeah, well said. Alessandro, you wanted to add something on this, or building that kind of culture?
Yes.
How do you train for culture, really?
Train for culture is not easy, but one of the problems of the GCCs, in a general problem, is retaining people. And I've seen that, especially in GCC, it's important, I talk as an educator, at the time of placing the students, to be very careful to match the same student culture with the same company culture, because there are clearly young talents that are made for multinational FMCG, clearly others that are for a startup, clearly others that are made for a GCC. Okay, and they are very different. And if you take one in a wrong place, they will stay just for a few months and leave. So that's extremely important, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Shaswat, with your HR platforms, you must be getting a lot of understanding of the trends, etc., from various companies. So what are the success factors in building a culture?
So, and in fact, Sudipta talked about a very powerful set of experience when he talked about reverse mentoring. So as a platform, what we did was we built an ability to create a layer of moments which can actually create set of experiences for employees. As you create those experiences and you experience those, your beliefs alter. And through experience, you create a set of new beliefs, and that leads to behavior change. It's a very deep, established OD science. In fact, a lot of our GCC clients are taking a lead on this because they are trying to set standards around what it means to be agile and empowered. How do you collaborate across frontiers? And still, how do you deliver the corporate values? And many GCCs are taking lead in establishing it through frameworks, measuring it, and going further deep and deep, because experience in many ways is like the whole series of black and white TV to color TV to I will say LCD to LED to 4K to OLED. So as you create and reach a maturity, you go deeper and make it more detailed and so on. So that's where I think this is one of the two areas where I will say, unlike given all the portfolio of clients, I will say our GCC set of customers are taking a lead across all of HR.
Yeah. And Alessandro, because you were also, what I am picking up from what Shaswat said about creating layers of moments. They are saying about experiences, but experiences are also unique to a company. Culture is unique to a company. Should there be any kind of basic soft skills to be developed, or it has to be adapted according to various companies?
So skills in general nowadays are the basic, the most critical issue and advantage. In terms of experience, if I can speak about training, okay, we have seen that it's very useful. As we were commenting before, I don't believe in extreme personalization with AI and for the training. I believe in extreme personalization for the company. Each company has a specific culture, specific values, specific critical issues. So it's very important that the training is customized, strongly customized on each aspect of this. And at the same time, he was mentioning that you have to also operate on the side of culture, not only go deeper in these issues. Side of culture, what we normally do is we ask CXOs of the company to take part of this teaching and become teachers, because that's the way they transfer the teaching clearly transfers the culture of the company. So that's a good moment to make it meaningful for the receivers.
I think knowledge sharing is a common theme, because Sudipta also mentioned about reverse mentoring. Yeah. So you are talking about CXOs mentoring the people, sharing their knowledge, sharing experience. And I think a lot of reverse mentoring, when it happens, it's also about opening up your mindset and sharing of new ideas. And should we think about, we have financial services, we have technology, as I mentioned, HR solutions and training. Should we plan to open a GCC? What should we look at? We want to set it up, yes, and we want to hire the right talent. Ankit, what do you think should be the first steps from a business point of view? Shaswat mentioned, because now it's not really about tech and ops, it's also about business, what GCCs drive.
Yeah, so I think the first one is, of course, to look at the talent that is available. So I think when we look at acquiring the talent, so a few of the key parameters or the key values that I look out for. One is the strategic thinking, that in terms of understanding of how the actions that we are performing are actually linked to the strategic objectives and enterprise objectives. The second one is the agility and adaptability, in terms of how quickly we are able to adapt to the needs, how quickly we are able to adapt to the change in needs and requirements. And digital, I would say that digital dexterity is required, because it's kind of we are coming at a crossroad wherein each and everything that we are doing has got the technological element embedded into it. So I believe that understanding of that where exactly the digital solutions or the digital solutions need to play a part is something which is required. And also the customer centricity is important, because we all, be it from any of the industry, we are ultimately working for the customers. So understanding the delivery, understanding the solutions from the customer's point of view, and then creating the entire customer journey or the customer experience is something that is important. And also understanding the compliance and the compliance part of it, and especially compliance not necessarily related to the integrity, but I think compliance is important, because right now a lot of focus, especially from the industry that I come from, semiconductor, IP is everything, intellectual property is everything. So understanding the compliances and staying compliant to all the requirements is something which is critical. So yeah, talent acquisition and right kind of a talent acquisition is something which is there, and that of course gets complemented by putting in the development practices in place.
Sure. Shaswat, you were talking about both inbound and outbound talent coming from India. So how do you think that what should be the right kind of hiring process to identify such talent?
So, in fact, to us, it's very clear that going forward, GCCs are not GCCs. They are part of global capability network. So you think of all organizations as a network of capability hubs or distributed capability model. The moment you think of it, hire people who can actually thrive in this network environment. So hire for capabilities which is not only serving today, but they can grow into take bigger roles around certain capability or outcome areas in India, outside, in various locations, can collaborate across the network. That's the kind of talent which will thrive. That will also allow Indian GCCs to have larger mandate in the network. We have already seen Indian GCC leaders become leaders of these global networks. And I think that's a trend which will only accelerate. So that's a great opportunity for us as a country, not only to from a setting up of newer GCCs, but I think our older GCCs will own these global networks and run those global networks.
Okay. Well, Ankit, what do you think about this? Being what Shaswat mentioned is that it's a more of a global capability network which they have, and experience of managing a GCC in India, of course, keeps them in good stead across any other location. And what Shaswat was also mentioning, and this is particularly not there in manufacturing. From a Micron technology point of view, do you feel that manufacturing is still where we are lacking somehow?
I think
Talent-wise.
Yeah, talent-wise, I think manufacturing has got different components, of course, right? So when we are talking about the proper manufacturing of the microprocessors, of the chips, storage and memory components, then it needs the complete supplier ecosystem to exist with. I think the government of India is doing really well now to build up that kind of an ecosystem. It will take some time, but I think at the same time, yes, the lead in terms of taking the lead in terms of technology part of it, right? And in manufacturing, especially in the area wherein I come from, it will take some time. But I think we have started on the right foot. We have already started with our journey. And by setting up the ATP plant, which is assembly, test, and packaging plant in Gujarat, so I think those are the first steps, and those are the first steps which every country has taken whenever they start with the semiconductor manufacturing or putting in place the entire ecosystem. So that's a good start, and it's not only an effort of one organization, of course. It's a combination of efforts. It's a collective effort. Along with the government, it's a public-private partnership which is serving, which has started on a good note, and I'm sure that over the course of time, not immediately, but over the course of time, I'm sure that India GCCs will actually take the lead in the technology part of manufacturing as well.
Sure. Yeah. Alessandro, anything on while we are opening a new GCC, what kind of skills do you feel are required right now?
I'm becoming quite boring, but soft skills for sure. For sure, there are certain specific technical skills, but India is full of that. But the critical asset would be the soft skills.
Anything in particular?
Adaptability, because of the continuously changing scenario. Ability to work in multicultural teams. Ability to think out of the box. So skills in general.
And do you think Indian workforce is being able to adapt to a more hybrid work culture?
Sometimes too much, and for sure is one of the people that have adapted the best because of the digital skills that elsewhere are missing, and people have been pushed into that. In India, it was already here, so that was for us. It was we shifted digitally in 3 days.
Nice. And we are talking about the kind of skills that we need to have, and technical skills especially, they keep constantly evolving. And there is a very scary story which, that's why my next question is, because there's a story that after one such panel discussion, the moderator was shot at outside the hall because he didn't ask a question on AI and jobs. So my question to you, Sudipta, is that with AI coming in, and we are thinking of AI replacing a lot of skills, replacing people, we are also talking about human in the loop. How much of component should be AI? How much of component should be pure human? what should be the ideal mix in your opinion?
So either I get shot or I prevent all of you from getting shot, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I was reading a book, that I bought. I've been doing a lot of travel recently, and I bought a book at a bookstore in the airport. It's a red color book, and as I was carrying it around, some of the people who saw the book, including when I was walking into the lounge, they're like, "What book is that? I've never heard of that." The name of the book was Nanchi. The name of the book was Nanchi.
Nanchi. Okay.
And it's a skill that's taught in Korea at a very young age, right? Which is basically, how do you understand things that are not being said in the room, right? You're listening to things that are already being said, but what is the stuff that is not being said, right? So for example, if I told you something that was offending, right? Some cultures would say, "Oh, that's fine, you did it by mistake," right? But the concept of Nanchi says that's not fine, because you should have understood what would offend him and you shouldn't be saying that. The reason why I bring that up is because, we are a very big bank. We call ourselves a bank of banks, right? We have 95% of the world's top 100 banks as our clients. We have 92% of of the Fortune 100 companies as our clients. So when you think about bankers who are sitting in a room with their clients, right? You can't have AI sitting in the room with their clients, because you need to really be understanding what your clients want, what are the things that they are saying, but more importantly, what are the things that they're not saying, observing their emotions, observing how they are reacting. That's the very core concept of selling something, right?
True.
And that's something that, that emotional intelligence piece is something that fundamentally AI, at least in the near future, will not be able to solve for, right? Today we talk about AI hallucinating. When you're asking it to do something, you would expect AI to do something that is not being said at all. Like, that's going to be a very scary thing, right? So when I think about AI coming in, I don't think about it as AI or humans, right? I think about it as superhumans, right? So jobs are absolutely going to be changing, right? But jobs are going to be changing for the better in a way that humans actually become superhumans, right? So instead of somebody being a relationship manager, they actually become an AI-assisted champion, right? Because they're using AI, they understand what the client's needs are, what products the clients have used, and therefore when they're selling another product to a client, they're actually going to adapt their selling style according to that, but they'll also have the emotional intelligence to sell that stuff to the client much better, right? Separately, if you take another example, today you have an entire set of jobs that are risk analysts, right? You look at data, you're trying to put together reports and things like that. That job is basically going to be changing into a data storyteller, right?
Yeah.
Because AI is going to do the work of building that report for you, of building the insights from that report. Now you're actually going to be taking that data, that analysis, building a story around it, and taking decisions based on that. Lastly, just to close this off, I personally think that this is a great opportunity for India, right? Because India has been, for a very long time, a service delivery location, right? And we've been great at it, right? I mean, you spoke about adaptability and, a couple of things. I think we as Indians are great at that, right? Jugaad is something that we've done for ages, right? So we kind of, lead over there, if you could say, right?
Sure.
When you think about talent, we are really good at that, right? Look at the number of IITs, IIMs we have now, look at the profile of people who go to IITs and then to IIMs, right? So you have people who are really good at management as well as engineering, right? And now the fact that we can use AI to get data insights and take those decisions in India, which may or may not have been taken in India before, just takes us to the next level of the game. Thank you.
That's very well said. And in fact, in the interest of time, I thank all the panelists for such insightful views. And a lot of recommendations have come on, actually practical recommendations on how to go about it. So if you are managing your GCC, of course, hiring is the first thing. And when you are hiring, look for diversity, look for inclusiveness, and look for readiness. And readiness not just in terms of technical skills, but also in terms of soft skills, which Alessandro has stretched so much about. And in his experience with his global exposure, he is also seeing that that is a big gap in India. And think of your workforce as not doing just ops and IT, but managing the business. So you need a lot of buy-in from internal stakeholders as well. And when you hire the right talent, you need to retain them, and for that, culture is extremely important. An inclusive culture, look for adaptability. You need to build their skills through, of course, various not just formal training programs, but also the culture should reflect that through, say, for initiatives like reverse mentoring, which Sudipta spoke about. And again, we are talking about AI and human. Ankit mentioned a very good term, which I think I'll be using very often, which is digital dexterity. You need to see, yes, their skills are there, but their skills are not static. They have to be that kind of flexibility has probably emerged as a very important point amongst all our panelists. And yes, AI and human, that part is there. And Sudipta very clearly highlighted that AI will do certain jobs which will enhance the skills of humans, make them superhumans rather than replace them. And it's ultimately, humans were supposed to be more emotionally evolved. They were supposed to be more cerebral. That is what differentiates us obviously from machines, and that is where the skills will lie for the superhumans. So hopefully we produce more superhumans tomorrow for GCCs, and thank you everyone for sharing your views. Thank you audience for listening.